And now we are back to
And then there were 3.
Exactly.
That graph sent me off.
Now we have a third of the Starknet users on one call. It's amazing.
The graph has gone down.
I was going to say that the my favorite Starknet DeFi protocol is Ponzi Land.
That's a gaming platform. Yeah.
I mean,
But it's also DeFi.
Yeah, it has your little DeFi mechanics infused inside of it, right?
You play the game and you earn real tokens. So technically, DeFi.
The pain for me, like hearing you guys talk about these things now, I feel like I'm a bit far behind because my gaming experience on Starknet has just been limited to Blob Arena and Pistol at Dawn. For some reason,
you started with the best. It's okay,
I agree with you. I agree with you. So I tried getting into Ethanol Season 1, but for some reason we were supposed to get in together, Kenny, but for some reason we didn't. I'm not sure what happened. We did not. I think I was carried away with Blob Arena at the time because I think it was the same period we're trying to prepare that Web3 Lagos conference. So I was a bit tied down with exactly. So I think
my main contribution to Blob Arena was Pastorgate. Like Watergate, the classic American scandal. Pastorgate, when I came out of nowhere and won the leaderboard 1 week using a pastor-based build, and then when I was asked, how I came up with the build, I said, well, Grog and his brother are Italian, and there's pastor's a weapon, so obviously the pastor's got to be OP. So I thought I'd
talking about it would have been nice to have Grog on this panel, right? Maybe the next one.
He's pretty fun. They've nerfed Pastor now. There's a lot more viable strategies. Alas.
But I'm looking at Pistol at Dawn. I'm looking at Pistol at Dawn. I'm asking, when are we going to have a mobile version?
Putting me right on the spot. Well, look, we had the Christmas quiz. And so so this is like a slightly long-winded way of answering your question. Hopefully by the time I'm done talking, you'll have forgotten the question. And then, I'll be off
I see what's
So, but so we ran Quizmas. And basically, Cumberlord and us kind of got together because you might not know this, but Cumberlord's kind of like social presence started in the Fallen Flintlock Tavern. We used to run these spaces set in the Fallen Flintlock Tavern. You come up and there'd be like a drink of the week, and you'd have to guess what the ingredients were, and there'd be something weird like blood and sand and a shot of whiskey, and so then whoever could guess what the ingredients were first would win a prize, and we do this kind of stuff. And so we got together and we were like, this was probably about a bit over a week before we actually ran Quizmas, and we were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we ran like a Christmas quiz? And I said, yeah, but wouldn't it be really cool if we ran it on chain? And everyone else, like the team and Cumberlord, were like, dude, this like a week until we're running it. Like, can you do it? And I was like, hold my beer. So then we went and talked to the team, and we made a plan, and we came back, a day passed, and we were like, yeah, we think we could ship this just in time. So we did it. And then we turned up to Quizmas, and it was much more popular than we'd expected. Almost 900 people wanted to play the quiz. But the catch is we only just managed to build the thing. We hadn't really had time to performance test it, and we hadn't had time to spool up our more indexes because we actually had a blocking indexer, a blocking issue on our indexes. We couldn't add more, so we had literally one indexer. So the thing about fully on-chain games, right, is you've got the blockchain, Starknet, and then you've got the people playing the game. But then the thing that makes that easy for you to talk to the blockchain is the indexer. So it's like, if the indexer doesn't work, everything's still there, but you can't talk to it.
Yeah.
Right. And anyone could, in theory, run an indexer. So it's kind of like this interesting problem. But we could only run one indexer for 900 people. So the thing fell over in Quizmas, fell over, and by question 5, almost nobody could answer a question anymore. So that was a bit crap. But it happens sometimes when you kind of try and push the envelope. But then as a result of that, that was our last remaining good indexer for pistols. And so now, since the quiz, nobody can play pistols properly either. And so we have this particular horrible bug that needs to be fixed that we're working on with cartridge. And until that's fixed, we can't fix that problem. At the moment, you can't even play pistols. We had to put it offline 2 days ago because it's not actually possible to play it. And then we're working on fixing this issue. Now, I know you asked me about the mobile client. Hopefully you got distracted by now. But yeah, so look, we're literally the only on-chain game that doesn't have a particularly good mobile client. Now, you actually can play pistols on mobile. Well, if it was up at the moment, you could play it on mobile because we released this update that preloads a bunch of the assets. It's got like a loading screen now, and it takes a little while. But once that's loaded, the game works a lot faster. So the reason you couldn't play pistols on mobile mostly was because it needed too much memory. And so it would like load too many assets and then the phone would crash. So now that we preload it, that's all like sitting in a nice little blob, and it actually works on mobile. The second problem though is it's not a very fun experience on mobile right now, right? Because we haven't made a custom UI. So that's a high priority for us, but we've just been dealing with these other things, like making the game reliable, dealing with like pretty important features. And so we haven't quite gotten to that. But now what we're planning to do is we've taken the game offline. We're going to be doing these fixes. That's going to really improve how fast the game runs and a bunch of other stuff. And then as part of that, we also want to like start looking at some of these really kind of key features like a mobile client, certain improvements to the game, improvements to competitive mode and prizes you can win, and a bunch of other stuff. So we're kind of in a planning phase around that. I'd say that in terms of like feature priority, like mobile clients in the top 3 for us.
Oh, fair enough.
So when is it going to happen? I don't know. But when is it going to happen relatively to other things? Sooner.
No problem, of course. I mean, I think the time I tried playing it on mobile, it had this desktop kind of experience, right? It wasn't exactly.
Oh, it was terrible on an iPhone. It would just crash in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and again,
but it works now though. If we put it back online now and you tried to play it on any phone, it won't crash. It's just that the UX could be improved.
It's a bit, a little.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as the Christmas quiz would have been so much fun, the indexer mixed things up. I think you released a tweet after the Twitter space.
Yeah, I explained it.
Explaining about.
Well, I'm from the school of I'm from the school of leadership, which is like when you have a fuck up, the leader should own it. It's like
you own up to it. Yeah. So when should we be expecting another quiz? Probably a New Year quiz.
Yeah, look, I really wanted to, like, what I was hoping was we'd be able to fix the infrastructure issue so that we'd be able to scale to the number of people that wanted to play the quiz. Because if 50 people turned up, it would have been fine, but 800 we weren't ready for. And I wanted to put it out before Christmas, but that wasn't to be. So now we're just kind of making sure that when we cross that bridge, it's going to be solid. And the thing that you might not know about Underwear is everything we do is open source. We have not got a line of proprietary code. It's 100% open source. So literally everyone in the ecosystem can and does look at the code that we write and use it and so on. That's for everyone. So the Christmas quiz is actually a new product that we're building. We're working on a bunch of other products related to that. So we're going to create a Discord bot that can be embedded into any community's Discord that acts as a facilitator for playing other on-chain games like Pistols or any of the other games in the ecosystem. And we're going to add the on-chain quiz into that. So any community in Starknet or otherwise will be able to run a quiz, a fully on-chain quiz themselves. So that's not just for us. this was like a pilot, but we're going to make that into a product that anyone can use. You know, and we're also going to get it to the point where you can like, you know, the original vision of Pistols was like, you're in the Discord and Uche's talking shit about how his nephew flogs you, and you're like, F you, like, I challenge you to a duel. I challenge you to a duel. Pistols at 10 paces, and you go out onto the dueling field, and whoever wins is right. You know, whoever wins is right. So we want to bring that original vision into the Discord, where you don't have to like, you know, awkwardly like go create a game somewhere else and paste a link and be like, yeah, you know, I'm going to show you. You just literally be like, you know, slash duel with like, you know, I'll show you mother, you know, whatever. And then like it creates the duel and he can jump in. And then, you know, even have like a little phase where other people can come in and like have a little prediction mark and then go, ooh, you know, actually like, I think Uchi's going to win. I'm going to maybe put a little side wager on this or whatever. And, you know, kind of create some spectacle.
Yeah.
But also like, if you want to play bloody Loot Survivor and, you know, gloat to everyone about the fact that you just got 7 beasts and, you know, blah, 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 then you can, you know, same feedback loop. If you want to run a quiz, same feedback loop. So you really start to like make that like a hub. So that's what we were going with, you know, so we just wanted to kind of like ship something really quickly and get it out there. So it was sad to see it fall over, but what was really cool was to see how much people loved getting to play a quiz, a fully on-chain quiz. To our knowledge, it's the first time anyone's been crazy enough to run a quiz fully on-chain. You know, we don't know of any other previous attempts. Maybe they exist. But that was cool in its own right. But people liked it. Everyone wanted to keep playing, you know. It was just, that was the sad thing. We were like, the server's fallen over. Nobody could play anymore. We really wanted to see what happened if everyone actually got to run with that. But we'll bring it back. I don't know when. We're going to get it right. It'll probably take us a couple of weeks. But we're going to bring it back and you know, we're going to finish the Christmas quiz. We have a bunch of sweet ass prizes waiting to be given out, and the grand prize, they're already like in the bag waiting to happen. And then once we've done that, we'll start running like regular quizzes with Realms World, and we'll start like working with other communities like Stark Coffee if they want to also do that kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Sorry, that kind of turned into a sales pitch. You know, it's not.
The reason why I brought up the Pistol at Dawn topic in the first place was because in 2026 I'm looking at doing more. Hopefully, I'll be doing more IRL events, and Pistol at Dawn is one of those games that I was looking at. Okay, if there's an opportunity for it, I would like to do the same thing that we did with Blob Arena for it, because I think the shit is fun. It's fun to play. It's fun to play Pistol at Dawn for some reason. And the beauty about it is you're totally having to depend on your intelligence. It's like trying to get into the head of your opponent and see what they have in there.
That's the whole point of the game. Yeah.
So it makes, for me,
well, if we're slightly technical about it, it's called an iterative Nash equilibrium.
Sorry, what?
Which means that an iterative Nash equilibrium.
Okay.
So what that means is that to put it into like simple terms, is that the metagame changes. It's a social deduction game. So the metagame changes based upon what your opponent might do. So your ability to get into the head of your opponent in Pistols is the only real edge that you have.
Yeah.
The better you can get into their head and predict what they're going to do, the better you're going to do on average. And the best players usually do about 65% win rate. But occasionally you see somebody just like absolutely demonize someone else. Like my favorite was when Calc played Fortuna on our team, right? And Fortuna's made the game, right? He knows how it works. But Calc's like a devious little bastard. And you know, he just got in Fortuna's head, and he beat him like 7 games in a row. And to this day, I don't think he's fully recovered.
Wow.
I don't think he's fully recovered from that. He just 7 games in a row, and he was just like, I don't know anything. I am nothing. What's going on? And just like Calc was just like so smug, and he was like just like each time he would like pick the next move, he broke him. You know, and that's the game. It's like, you know, chess, the more moves you can think ahead, the better you're going to do. Pistols is a game where the more moves ahead in terms of getting into your opponent's head you can get, the better you're going to do. Yeah. But it's like, it's a war, right? You're both trying to do that, So it's kind of like this tug of war where he's like, yeah. Anyway, that's
why I love the game.
That's
Like
the game.
every other game is dependent on some random calculations, but this is entire like you're doing you here, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like the first few games we played where I was like,
Mhm.
Kenny, come here, Kenny, come here. Kenny,
But I lost the first few games, right? But over
so
time,
wait, because I know what
it
you want to say.
became
On a scale of the amount that we played Pistol at Dawn, I think if we average it out, it's 50-50.
no.
Hold
No,
on.
no,
So
no.
We,
See,
you
we
know,
are
we,
going
we
to
can
pull
we can look it up.
recordings. We are going
We
to
can
pull
look it up because
recordings.
it's
exactly.
I
fully
have
Can
I
unchained.
check
have
it
a,
on
at
the
least a
average. On the
70%
way he
win
says
rate.
it, like maybe he beat me seven. You beat me 7 times. Like count.
Okay, I've whooped you many times, like
I'm
more
not.
times than
I'm
I
not
can count.
arguing. I'm not
I
arguing
lost.
that.
Do you know?
Wait. I'm
We
not
didn't
arguing that.
exactly record
What I'm
everything.
saying is I've beat you equally on equally amount of times. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you've not beat me, but I'm saying
No,
that
that's true. I
I've
mean,
beat you on the same scale. You
I
can't even
have
have
about
bragging rights. You don't even
70%.
have bragging
No,
right
no,
on
no, no.
X.
And then
I've
and
heard
then meanwhile
bragging
I'm
rights
here.
if
I'm
you know
like,
that one
it's
times.
working.
I mean,
This
I
is
have
this
about
is this
seventy
is the more
percent win
reason
rate.
why I think next year we should do more. We should do more
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gaming
should. We
sessions,
should. Yeah,
because
we
Look,
should.
this is
I really
fun.
want to I really want to give players some tools to run community-centric tournaments, which is actually we integrated with Budokan, which is like Provable Games tournament framework, like a year ago, but we just hadn't had time to bundle it up and make the UI nice and so on. But we actually built that. And I really want to give that to people. So, for example, like Stark Coffee can be like, okay, we have the Stark Coffee community. We're running a tournament, who, and like, instead of it just being like one leaderboard over there, right, where everyone has to compete, it's like, no, it's like now we can turn up, put a bunch of people in a room, stick them into the tournament. They're all competing against each other. That's way more engaging, right? Like that's like something we really want to
Yeah.
facilitate.
Yeah.
It's just hard. You're making an on-chain game. You're literally building, and let's just Loot Survivor, who I mean, like Loot Survivor. I just want to call this out, right? Like they've done an incredible job, right? The amount of you can look at that dashboard and you can see all of the metrics, right? But they made like $500,000 of revenue.
Wow.
Now, that puts them in the top, I think, like top 3% of games, any kind of games ever in terms of launch metrics. It's like that's like one of the most successful game launches, Loot Survivor 2, that's ever existed in the history of modern games. That's actually like fucking pardon the French. That's insane. That's insane if you think about it. It's an on-chain game. It's like it's in an emerging tech market, right? We're not meant to be able to like anyway, so those guys incredible. But that wasn't my point. What was I talking about, guys? You gotta
We're
reel me
trying
back in
to
here.
we're
I'm just
trying
gonna
to have
go.
rooms where people
We
can
have
get in on,
games.
like
Yeah,
separate rooms where communities can have their own games.
play against each other.
Yeah, I mean, like Budokan's incredible. What those guys have built so many cool tools. We should all be using them. Like they've built a standard that makes games portable, so you can like mint an NFT with the game, and then but any game can mint that. So like that means like Pistols can mint a Loot Survivor game with special rules, and then the player could play it. So they built that. They built Budokan. They built like some really cool shit. It's like really incredible stuff.
I mean,
And so we really love that they're building this stuff in a standards way, and we want to integrate with some of that stuff, a lot more and support them.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
yeah.
I
personally
mean, it would
think
be nice to have the room thing where people can compete against each other. I mean, it would be really nice to have that on Pistol at Dawn. I think Blob Arena already integrated something
yeah,
similar to
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
think that was
yeah.
how we're able
Yeah,
to create a tournament specifically for the Web3 Lagos conference. I mean, this is something that I
yeah,
feel is going to be nice if it is being invited into Pistol at Dawn, right? And of course,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
for
it's like it's
mobile.
like an iceberg, right? Like you just see the bit above the water, right? Like you just see this part, but actually the features of Blob Arena has is like, that part,
Yeah.
they got like heaps. They've really built a lot of crap. I think that was the point I was going to make before is like, you turn up, you're like, hey guys, I got this great idea. Let's make a fully on-chain game. It's really cool. Let's make it. And you're like, okay, yeah, but you're making a product for a market that doesn't exist yet. Right. And so like you get outliers like Loot Survivor, which only adds to how incredible that is, because that's almost impossible to pull off what they did. But like it's hard, right? And so, then you're like, okay, I mean, like with underwear, obviously I come from a background as an investor and I'm doing a bunch of stuff. So I have money. So, the way that underwear came to exist is I was like, I'm just going to pay for everything for the first 2 years. Right.
Yeah.
And then we got some grants, we got some support from Starknet and Starkware and Realms, like an alignment grant, and a few other bits here and there, but mostly underwear, like everything has been paid for by me. Because like you don't actually make money. Like we've made almost no money with pistols. We haven't tried to make money yet, really, right? Like we sell duelists, but they cost like 20 cents a duelist and blah blah blah. We pay for all the gas fees. It's not, the goal is not to make money, but it's a very hard thing to create a successful business in a nascent market. And so, of course, then the other side of it, right, is that like actually there's like huge number of features that you need to build, and you're building it all on the frontier of tech. So like everything that Cartridge are doing, well, that's not like they haven't released one version, right? They've released like 100 versions over the last year. And each time they do that, everyone's got to do some work updating it. But each time it takes the space forward as well. And then it's like, what are all these features you need to build to make a game? Well, it actually turns out like it's a lot and it's constantly changing. So where do you get the money to fund all of that work? So we've had that problem in Pistols, right? Where we know what we need to build, but we're only a small team. And it's like, okay, do we build mobile next? Or do we fix these really important bugs? Or do we fix competitive play? Or do we add all these collectability features? Or do we introduce the more fun version of the game mode that requires real-time players? Because we have, the version you're playing in Pistols at the moment, very, very simple version of the game where you make one set of moves each and the game plays out. Now, question for you. Can you think of a single fun game where you make one move and it's fun? Single game, other than tic-tac-toe.
Well,
This is, by the way, tic-tac-toe is not just one. It's not one move.
I felt that.
But thinking about it now, putting it into perspective now, I don't think there's any game you have to make one move. And that's, just think about it now. That's the beauty of Pistol at Dawn, because you do that, you do those selections and then start the game, and then you're entertained by whatever comes up next. It's not just even being entertained. I have to be honest now. It's the fear that grips me when I'm playing this idiot, because I'm thinking, what he might beat me. That fear, and it's just one move. And then
what am I going to tell my grandchildren if I let him beat me?
Exactly. You have a great point. Like really, now thinking about it, it's like because sometimes you probably send me a challenge first, and maybe I'm sleeping, and that's how you know that I beat him sometimes, because when I beat him, he can't sleep. So the next thing, he might wake up. He probably wakes up 2 a.m. in the morning and it's like, Uche beats me. I need to do something. Then he sends me a challenge, and then I wake up.
That bastard sent me a challenge. I'm like, how am I gonna? Is he gonna shoot early or late?
Exactly.
Oh shit!
Exactly. There's so much psychological warfare that comes with Pistol at Dawn. You wake up in the morning, and because he's always sore. He's always sore when he loses. So he will send me a message. If I haven't responded to the challenge, he sends a text message. Hey, I sent you a challenge. Go and play. And I'm like thinking,
So imagine how fun it would be.
What do you think? What do you think about having like an end-to-end kind of chat on Pistol at Dawn? I mean, I think there was a time I tried sending challenge with the few top guys.
We've considered that. But I mean, like I think we feel like it would be better if we facilitated the ability for players to connect on an existing channel. But like,
Oh,
there are standards that we could introduce. Like there's a wallet to wallet messaging protocol. So we could like just hook that up and then you'd be able to just message people to their wallet address. But most of the time the problem with those is that like chat's actually kind of quite a technically deep feature. And you end up with a bunch of problems like, people getting spammed and that kind of stuff. So like it's not at the top of our list to solve it, but we do know that it would be pretty cool because you want to be able to smack talk your opponent. But imagine like think about like the current game, right? Like you get to make one move and it's really fun. You see it play out. Imagine what it would feel like if every step that you took, you got to make a decision. You got to like adapt your play to what happened. So imagine you have like a deck of cards and one of the cards is shoot and one of the cards is dodge, and you always start with those two cards. But then there are other weird and wonderful cards you can get. Like maybe there's a card called reload, which allows you to like reload the gun so you can shoot someone again, or kind of like other versions of dodge or other kinds of cards that change something. And so the difference is, right, like so you take a step and you see what actually happened, you see what the environment changed, but you know that your opponent can see the same thing. So imagine you get 3 steps in, you see there's actually enough damage to kill each other now, and you go, fuck. Is Uche going to now try and shoot me, or does he know that I know that he's going to try and shoot me and that I'm going to dodge? And is he going to like psych me out and do something else? Right. And then imagine that for every single step of the game, all the way to 10 paces. And then you get to do the same with blades. That's what, when we have like a multi-move game, imagine how much more fun that would be than the current version, which is literally you decide up front. Now, the decide up front version is fun. It's cool for remote play. It's cool for a challenge mode. It's got certain things that it's really fun for. It's like just the spectacle of like, you don't know what's going to happen. You make the decision up front and then you see it play out and you're like, and then whatever the all miss card gets drawn and you're like, fuck, I'm going to like totally lose. And then like, and then the all hit card gets drawn like 3 moves later, just in time for you, to kill your opponent. Sometimes it just goes one way and then the other, and so there's a bit of spectacle. But imagine how much fun it would be if you got to like see what happened and then like make some decisions. But that your opponent knows what happened as well. So like, what are they going to do? And you're like, oh shit.
Fair enough.
So we'd love to make that too, but that's like that requires real time both players to be there at the same time. Because otherwise, it's like you've got like 13 moves to make. It's going to take you 7 months to finish the game.
Would be nice to see. Would be nice to see. Really.
So I think we've done so much of game. I think the next question is very much direct. So the question would
we got kind of distracted on that one, didn't we?
yeah, but it was good. It was good. I love the exchange. Which Starknet dApp have you used the most this year? It could be game, it could be DeFi. I'll go first. I think I've used I have lending on Visu for the last how many months. So I don't know if it counts as used most, but I've had liquidity locked up there for the longest time. But if you ask me which one I use more frequently, I would say since I had the conversation with Atomic Labs, they've been the dApps that I've used the most, just because like I think I woke up last week, sometime mid last week, and I had to like go back to our interview and curate and edit a video about Atomic Labs, and then I posted it on X just because of how smooth it made, how easy it made life for me. Not because before now, I would call this again. I'm sorry, but I have to call you idiot. I always call this idiot to change stack tokens for me. That's his job. I just call him as a call. So, but the idea of, since I had the conversation with Atomic Labs, first of all, you're not necessarily bridging. It's not reliant on any multi-sig. I don't know if people even know this. It's not multi-sig. It's just pure cross-chain transaction. Cross-chain swaps. You're not relying on anything. It uses what they call light clients. So they do verification on Bitcoin to make sure that you've actually forwarded the Bitcoin or you forwarded the stack tokens, and then you get your Bitcoin in your wallet completely completely trustless. The beautiful thing again is it has zero slippage. So how it works is like, like they work in it has a quotation kind of thing. So if I'm exchanging, let's say one Stark token, so you have a quotation, this is how much we're going to sell it, and nothing is going to be added or removed. And then they have the cheapest transaction fees, sub $1, right? I've not even done anything above $1. So like that's how beautiful the swap is. And I've been using it. In fact, since I had that conversation with them, every time I stopped telling you to change my, because you always make guy, you always when you beg him for something and he's playing around with it. But since I figured it out, I've been reliant on them. I think that one of the best currently for me, especially when it comes to Bitcoin Stark token swaps. I think they're the best right now for me.
I mean, a permissionless DEX, cross-chain DEX is like honestly a really powerful public good. So I mentioned it in passing, but I was one of the first investors in ThorChain, which was the first cross-chain DEX, a permissionless cross-chain DEX. So we pioneered a bunch of these techniques, on how can you have a distributed network that allows you to do swaps cross-chain without a third party, and just literally like a transaction on Bitcoin and then an outgoing transaction on Ethereum or whatever. And so like I was really excited when I saw Atomic launch, and Starknet, because I think that this is like, like Starknet didn't have exposure to this kind of technology up until that point. And they've done a really cool implementation on it, right? So like absolutely, I can totally understand why you would use that all the time. Because like, that can't be censored.
Yeah.
Right. That can't be censored. Somebody couldn't hold a gun to their head and make them censor that.
Exactly.
And so that means that, if you're dealing with, problematic financial rails, like you probably have to deal with in Nigeria fairly regularly, I'm imagining. Yeah. It's a little bit easier for me. I'm in Australia, kind of just works, but watch this space. So like, that's really cool. I totally get why you would be excited about it. Basically, it's like, hey, actually, now you have money here, you have money there, you can move it, nobody can stop you. Like, and you can earn yield on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite unfortunate that Uchi is a little bit, no, not even a little bit. Uchi is very ungrateful. I mean, before he found out about Atomic Labs, right? I did basically all his off ramping from Starknet back to his fiat, right? I basically did all that, and look at him, all ungrateful, no sense of thank you, nothing whatsoever. I literally just dumped me by the sideway and then went with Atomic Labs. But anyway, no issue. It's all good. I already know that for you. But I mean, back to the original question. To be very honest, it's quite an irony that my most used dApp had to be a Kubo. I mean, because I literally do a whole lot of swapping between my bags, swapping between Brother, Grinta, Burrow, all this time. So when I realized, okay, there's been a price change, I had to swap in between laws
to Schizodio into Brother back in it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
lifestyle.
I think Ekubo has to be like my most used app, switching between this nothing fun. Yeah, that's basically it. But anyway, Uche, I'm not going to forgive this betrayal. I would not forgive it. Right. So go on. Atomic Lab is honestly brilliant. To be really. I've tried using it as well, and then the smooth was. I mean,
this is the part you will not talk.
Really,
this is the part you will not talk.
Hello.
You give me credit for introducing you to Atomic Lab.
Hello. So, well, to be honest,
I see why you guys are you guys love playing pistols with each other. I see it.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, he used it, right? And when he realized that, he actually solved a lot of problems when it comes to off-ramping. Because at some point, initially, initially, I could off ramp within a space of 10, 15 minutes. I mean, max, let's say 5, 10 minute max, I would have Naira in my bank account. But after a while, it started taking a while to settle on most of the extra lights exchanges, taking about 3 hours, 4 hours. I mean, it's a whole
Sometimes
lot
a
of
whole day.
hassle. Exactly, sometimes a whole day. I mean, it's a whole lot of hassle. So, and the moment I found out about Atomic Labs and I checked it, I mean, if Uche gives a review about a product, trust me, it is top notch. And I'm not saying it I'm not saying this to have your ego or anything. So then I looked into it and I tried it out and I realized that, oh no, this is actually really awesome. And big ups to Atomic Labs for the solution and innovation they brought into this space, right? And yeah, big ups for them. I think that's basically that for me. But for the most used app, of course, yeah, Ecoba has to be like the top of the list, followed by the others.
I mean, I'd say that in terms of like DeFi protocols, I probably use Akubo the most because I provide I provide liquidity. I do a bunch of swaps. It's really useful for both of those things. And also like Moody's kind of a legend. He was at the New York thing last year. I got to like hang out with him a little bit. He's also like very don't fuck around with on-chain games with Moody. He's a little bit too hard opponent. But yeah, like I mean, like probably the dApps that I use the most are a bunch of the games actually, or like I regularly use like Realms Worlds, like VLord's system. I mean, that was amazing. When Loot Survivor kicked off, it started generating 20% of the revenue from Loot Survivor went to VLord's stakers in the Realms protocol. And so the way that works is you take Lords and you can stake it for up to 4 years, and then you get essentially V Lords, just synthetic Lords back based on how long you've staked it. So let's say you staked like 100 Lords for 4 years, you get 100 V Lords. If you staked 100 Lords for 1 year, you get 25 V Lords, right? So you just get like the percentage of the maximum staking period. But then any revenue generated by a game in Realms World every week gets distributed to the V Lords holders. So when Loot Survive was launching, I was like, I think that's going to go pretty well. So up until that point, I had like a bunch of Lords, because I have quite a lot of Lords staked, in case anyone was, not aware of that. I have like quite a lot of Lords. So I was like, okay, I've got them staked, but I've only got them staked for a little while because like I'm not sure what's going to happen. But when Loot Survive was launching, I was like, I think this is going to go really well. You know what? F it. So I max staked a substantial amount of Lords for 4 years and took out something like 50% of the entire V Lords pool. So like I'm like 50%. That's what I did. So conviction. It was conviction, but I can't get my Lords back for 4 years either. So I'm like, okay, I think this is going to go well. Anyway, so then the first week that Loot Survivor launched, I got 10% of the Lords that I'd staked back in income the first week.
Wow.
And the second week, I got like more than 10%. And then other people started cotton on to the fact that this was actually a really good play. I just beat them to the punch. And then, maybe I might have mentioned to a few of the Lords, you know who you are, who immediately copied my strategy. This is why, why you don't have friends. And so then, like, I think probably within 4 weeks, I was down to about 10% of the total supply. So like the amount of Lords went up massively. So I used the Lords, the Lordship protocol interfaces quite regularly. I use Akubo. I play Pistols. I play Blob Arena. I play Loot Survivor. I try and fail to play Ponzi Land. I mean, I just basically hand money to people whenever I play Ponzi Land because I'm too lazy. I'm just like, close enough. And someone else was like, oh God, Recipromats is handing out free money. I'll take it. And I like to kind of like stay across all of the releases. Yeah. If you ever see any Recipromats land in Ponzi Land, you're under a good bargain. Like check it out. And I just generally like to stay across the releases of all of the on-chain game guys in particular. because there's just like so much interesting stuff people put out, and they put them out, for really limited tests. Like Realms Eternum has been doing Blitz has been doing play tests, super cool play tests, right? Like, so, like I'm just down the rabbit hole, guys. You're like, what's your one? What do you use the most often? I'm like, I use all of it. What do I use? I use Starknet, Starknet.
Fair enough, guys. I think this should be the longest podcast that I've ever had.
That's because you had me on.
I'm sure. When I told you when I was introducing, I said keep it down to 30 seconds. They didn't understand why I was telling you.
Now they understand.
Oh, but fair.
I was on a podcast. Independent Reserve interviewed me about my serious business background like a month ago, and Lee, who was interviewing me, like, just kept asking me more questions, and we were like an hour and a half into the interview, and I'm like, are you like, are we all right for time? And he's like, yeah, let's keep rolling. And I was like, all right, let's keep rolling. Like,
it's like what you have with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, his podcasts are like hours. They just smoke and then they just talk non-stop until maybe they get tired. I think you're better suited for this kind of podcast. I don't want to say you talk too much, but like how to keep conversation going. That's the point.
Yeah,
talk too much.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think if you gave me a rock with a smiling face on it, I'd probably be able to, talk to it for a month or two before I ran out of stuff to say. Like Castaway, but technology edition.
I was always going to ask. So Underworld, I see the logo has changed. The first logo, however, was
oh no, so that's so Underwear is the game studio.
Yeah.
And Underworld is the first game that we were going to make. So the logo is pretty similar.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Underworld was, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a game called Eye of the Beholder. It's like from the 90s, but you go into a dungeon and you got a party of like 4 adventurers, and you're like moving through the dungeon one step at a time, like, and then like monsters come and you fight them, and you like traps and blah, blah, blah. So we wanted to make like a fully on-chain version of that. And it was like this really complicated game. We had like this substance called like bloom tar that would like propagate, and like, the map wouldn't exist. So every time you'd open a door, you'd find out what was on the other side. That would become like a permanent part of the map. So then anyone else walked through that door, they'd get the same thing. And, like we were talking about all this crazy stuff. And then we realized, about 2 years ago, that like this is a really complicated game, and if we try and make this, we'll be bankrupt long before we ship anything that anyone can play. And so we were like, you know what? Let's make a simple game.
Okay.
And then we were in Istanbul, and I was talking to Kalk, and I made a joke that like everyone's always arguing in Discord. We should be able to like, throw the gauntlet down and challenge someone to a duel. And he was like, yeah, someone should build the on-chain game of that. And I was like, yes, somebody should. So then we thought like, that would be a nice simple game to start with before we return to the complicated game. And then we were like, okay, there's no such thing as a simple on-chain game. And here we are.
Been a ride.
Okay. Where do I go from here? Is there something else you would like to talk about, Rob?
Well, look, Starknet has a bold founder, and that means we're going to win. So, I don't think I have anything else I need to say.
Okay, fair enough.
Eli's my homie.
Okay, I think how best to segue out of this would be each of us. I'll give you 1 minute monologue on Starknet. Talk about anything you want.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you both have an electric razor at hand?
Electric what?
A what?
A razor, like that you could use to shave your head. Just asking for no reason.
No, I know. But why would you ask that?
Because I have a great idea on how we could finish the episode.
I'd like to hear it.
Well, there seems to be a correlation between like bold founders and success. What if we all like shaved our hair off?
Halfway there.
like Ben saying, like,
I'm
Yeah.
I'm halfway there.
Oh shit! I might be about to rug myself here. I'm kind of committed.
I'm halfway there. Side by side, it's moving off already. So in the next couple of years, I'll be dragging the same thing with Ellie.
It's good. We're definitely gonna make it.
Sure. See this one. You see this one? His hair has gone from here to
let's not do that.
his hairline is
I
completely
agree. I agree.
This is the thinking line. It's the thinking line. The more you think, the further back it goes.
Well, I agree.
Man, this was
halfway there. I'm halfway there.
All right, we got a minute. We got a minute.
1 minute monologue for Starknet.
I'll go last because that's probably safer.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I would go first.
I think I should go first this time around.
Feel free.
Yeah. So, I should. I mean, you've been taking most of my points for the duration of this podcast. I don't want to risk it.
Go, don't worry, go.
So, I mean, basically for Starknet, it has to be, of course, yes, the BTC scene, right, and the aggressive pivoting between products or between ideas. Initially, Starknet started off with scaling Ethereum, right? From there, we heard that they moved towards BTC finance, BTC while still scaling Ethereum, of course. And again, we're steering of privacy every now and then. So I mean, Starknet has the tech. It has the craft devs that are doing that are building a same product right on top of it. So I feel Starknet is so awesome that the all aggressive moves, making waves across all these different spheres, likes of privacy, BTC, scaling Ethereum. I mean, it is awesome. So in a nutshell, I would say Starknet has the best tech. Like it's just the absolute best. Yeah.
Fair enough. This is what you wanted to say. That is, I'll take
Yeah, of course. I just needed to chip that in so you don't, take away most of my point and I'll end up recapping what you already said. So yeah, it's
okay, fair
better
enough.
safe than sorry.
Okay, fair enough. For me, 1 minute. Okay, let's see. I'll start with what Starknet has achieved this year. So I'm going to highlight the green tower upgrade, the three, right? The 3 sequences upgrade. I think BTC has been incredible what they've done with BTC getting those amount of liquidity into the ecosystem in a short period. And I think next year is going to be quite interesting. But I think the highlight for me with this year would be the amount of users that has come in as a consequence of, the tech. I mean, Kenny has mentioned the tech, but I think it's often understated somehow because when you look at the tech and what it does, like a lot of people are on Starknet, they don't even know they're on the blockchain with the likes of Focus Tree and what Partridge is doing. So like there's been a lot of development on that front, and I think it's only going to get better. In terms of gaming, I mean, like we what we've seen with Pixel Dawn and Blob Arena, I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, you guys are talking about Loot Survivor and the rest of the games. Unfortunately, fortunately, I've only been playing Pistol at Dawn and Blob Arena, and I can tell you that for sure there's a lot of people that buy into the theory of what those games are and what it does in terms of having a social impact on groups. BTC has been one of the best for many reasons, but I think for the best part of it, the level of products that it's brought into the ecosystem. I mean, Atomic Lab is one of them. When you talk about impact, real impact, I mean, Atomic Lab is a good example of it. And then we have so many flavors of Bitcoin, Lombard, Solve, Threshold. These guys are coming in, and this means it's exposed Starknet to a lot of other ecosystems, and people are coming in. And I think one thing that is often not mentioned enough is I think Starknet has the best CEOs on BTC, and the beautiful part of it is you're not just taking BTC, you can also stake BTC to secure the Starknet ecosystem.
Yeah, that's right. 25%
So
of every
25%
validator.
of Starknet is being secured with Bitcoin. So that's also something else to take note of. And of course, the staking platform is it's blowing up. It's blown up, not even blowing up. I think there are more than 1 billion Stark token stake right now. So that's also that's also one good thing. I think looking forward, I had a conversation with Abdel on privacy, but generally the freedom tech and what it's all about. And I think next year we're going to be seeing a lot on privacy. And I'm really excited with the potential arrival of Starknet and what it's all about. So that's something to look forward to. I think privacy will be one of the biggest talk of next year. I watched what's it called, documentary Eli Ben Sasson did, that was called the Bitcoin Professor. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Very beautiful documentary, and how people are utilizing Bitcoin. And it makes I'm excited because we have Bitcoin
Inspiring.
and Starknet now, and you can only imagine what comes out of it. It's only going to be positive. So excited for the future in terms of privacy, in terms of because I think we've only scratched the surface with Bitcoin and Starknet. So I'm excited about what the future brings. And, because of this, I'm super bullish for next year. I think the concentration on next year will be a lot more on getting more users and solidifying on what has been done already. So, I know it's more than 1 minute, but yeah.
I mean, I was
It was a little more. I didn't want to say.
No, I mean, come on. Yeah, agreed 1 minute.
I can agree with
I think it was
Kenny.
like 1 minute and 3 seconds.
I can agree with Kenny coming after me, but Rob, no.
Look, I would just be throwing rocks in a glass house if I criticized you for how long you took to answer a question at this point. Look, I mean, my answer will perhaps be uncharacteristically somewhat simple. I think, I mean, the thing that I feel most passionate about at Starknet is cool. It's cool to make money, right? That's great. That's fine. But the thing that I feel most passionate about on Starknet is the freedom tech stuff. It's it's like, if you think about it, right? Before the internet, we had a lot of value was caught up in things like factories. And then if somebody wanted to ruin the money that the company that owned the factory would make, they could just turn up to the factory and destroy the factory, or the workers could do a picket line around the factory, or the government, could turn up and basically take the thing because it was physically there in the world. And then we created the internet, and then suddenly value can be transferred from one person to another person on the other side of the world like that with a computer. And, so now all of a sudden it's a lot harder for you to seize other people's value for a little bit. And the thing about that is that so that introduced a degree of coercion resistance to everyone, right? Where the cost of taking a certain amount of stuff from other people is too high to warrant it. Well, what freedom technology does, like Starknet, is that increases the cost further. And so and each time we increase the cost and we make it too expensive to take freedom away from people, everyone gets that freedom, right? Because now it's no longer practical to take that freedom away from people. So I fundamentally believe that this is necessary for humanity to thrive. This is the core problem that humanity faces, is we create these unfair systems that rob people of their freedom and enslave them. And if we can increase the threshold so that less, the basic degree of liberty that people have that can't be taken away is higher, everyone is better, everyone is happier. When humans are happy, they're generous, they look after other humans. This is the most beautiful world we could live in, is we just need to make it too expensive to take shit away from people. So that's the pre-answer. But the actual my actual answer is really, that's my pre-answer. He said, it was a show answer, I swear. So the actual answer is simple. First they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Well, they laughed at us. Now they're fighting us. I'm looking forward to 2026 when we win. That's me done.
I
Thanks
love
for having
that.
me on.
I love that last part.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'll put everybody on the spot. This will take just 2 minutes. One question each.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
Rob, who is your best Twitter X handle on? Who is your best handle on X? You can't mention Eli, you can't mention Abdel, and you can't mention Komalod. Yeah,
Well, I
I
mean,
got you.
Cumberlord and I just need to get a room mostly, like, I mean, you should see the guy's sausage. Uh, yeah, like, well, I mean, that's actually really easy. Uh, Loaf, Lord of a Few. Guy's a freaking legend.
Oh, fair enough. Nice one. I think he's also good. Kende, hold on. Same question, but you can't mention Odin. You
Don't
can't
do that. Come on. Why you do that?
You can't mention Odin. You can't mention Eli. You can't mention Abdel. You can't also mention Kumbalod.
It's not fair. Come on.
Oh, the word
Well,
isn't fair.
well,
He's thinking about Cumberlord, though.
I would, well, at this point, I mean, I'll go with Liski.
Why would you
Who?
go? He's the one that he gave him the
Yeah.
September meme reward. Why would you go?
Well, like there's just so many people that I think of, like I'm notorious for hating, like, what's your favorite color? What's your, if you could only listen to one song ever, what song would you listen to? People would ask, and
Of course, it's an
I'd be
impossible
like,
question.
I would choose no song because I would not want to listen to one song for the rest of, my existence. But like, I think about Starknet and I think like it's the chorus of people that makes it so beautiful, like, I mean, I love the stuff you guys put out, Calc, so fun, the shit he puts out. Odin, right? Like force for good, in the
Yeah,
ecosystem. He just like
Yeah.
gets in really early, understands stuff, is really good at supporting and making things happen. You've got like Shadowfax, right? Like, so she's done so much
yeah,
good. And just like this long list of people who are out there. I mean, like the people that you wouldn't have heard of, like, Bulbhead, right? Like in the Realms ecosystem.
yeah.
Does a bunch of really cool stuff with like in supporting roles like AI video and other stuff like that. Like, there's just like so many people like contributing in this ecosystem that really deserve mention, right? That just like show up every day
Yeah.
and make things happen.
For me, I would
I mean,
say,
Mattaleone, my co-founder at Underwear,
yeah,
quiet, modest, just like shipped literally like the first generative art collection on Starknet, then like, an NFT standard so anyone could ship NFTs, like builds a bunch of stuff for us, made this other thing, made that other thing, made like 3 games on the side, like there's just infinite number of people like this out there just in
Honestly, true.
Starknet, all quality. Mwah,
Uh,
mwah.
Uche, for
yeah.
you, of course, you can't mention Odin, you can mention Cumberland, you can mention Grog, you can mention Rob, you can mention Eli, you can mention Shadowfax, you can mention Liski, you can mention Clark, you can mention Jesus. Yeah, go on.
Fair enough. I
Good
wasn't
you.
even going to mention any of those guys. So, but for me, the for me, I think uh, okay. The first person would be, I'll mention one person because Rob mentioned more than one. So I'll just
Yep.
segue into other people. But the first person would be David Barreto. The
Yeah,
he's
true.
the developer advocate for Starknet Foundation. I think he's one of the ones that I would mention. That, I mean, he's not super active on X, but he does a lot. And on a personal level, I think he's the first person from Starknet that came to the podcast. So for that, I hold a special place for him. So David Barreto. But I also mentioned people like Niels from Visu. Niels has been super, super, super supportive. He's been on the channel for 3 times. Yeah, he's been on the channel 3 times. Yeah. And then I think Mark from Visu too. I think Mark from Visu is insane. Guy is insane. He responds quite quickly. His communication skills are top notch. So I'll say Mark from Visu would be another person. And then maybe we could look at I can't mention Rob because Rob has been Rob has been fun. Grog has
I was
been
on the ban list.
yeah. but like I would also say the people at Atomic Labs, Sylvie and Adams, those two I think I had so much fun in that session. I'd have to mention everybody that has come on the show because I met a lot of people and they've all been nice. But I chose David Barreto because even while he's not been on the show, he's been very supportive. So yeah, David tops it.
Fair enough.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
So, it's weird though because we collectively named more than 8 people.
Yeah, exactly. And it was supposed to be 3.
Do any of these people even use Starknet? How is it possible?
But I mean, if we want to go off on it, I think we could. Personally, I think I could do more than 50 right now. I think.
Honestly, man, yeah.
You just you're like getting the scroll, like hear ye.
I mean, as you're thinking of one person, the next person is already coming straight to your head, and you're like, oh, this person is also awesome. I mean, a lot of them are quite supportive, liking your post, retweeting your post, commenting on all those stuff. So yeah. I mean,
there's endlessly good people, I mean, obviously like Loot Hero, incredible things, the stuff that him and his team have done. But also, on the team as well, there's like Distracted Dev, Lady Spaghetti, Await. Each one of them a legend in their own time. Or there's people like Squiddy, Nate, Fockers, Nate, and Calc are the EC for Realms, and they're just like doing the ops, keeping like the Realms DAO going. I mean, like maybe you guys haven't even heard of Squiddy. I don't know, but the guy is like just doing so much stuff behind the scenes. It's incredible. He's also Australian, so I like he's in my time zone. I get to talk to him all the time. But anyway, but I'm not gonna get out the scroll. It'll be like, and then Bertrand begat Bob and Bob.
I'll say this. This will be my last point. I promise you guys, I'm not going to say anything except anyone else wants to say. But I want to give it's more of an appreciation, and I say this not because I know him. Funny enough, he has the same name with you, Rob. His name is Rob, and I think he's one of the most active Starknet users. He runs a validator. He also runs, I think he has a validator node on Atomic Labs too. He has a bunch of liquidity pools. I think he's one of the people that I can say that he's involved in almost every aspect of Starknet, and that's Rob. And most importantly, Rob, you were fortunate enough to come on the podcast when my sound system was now good. Now when I'm using this mic, because formerly it was one of those mics that you could barely hear what I was saying. So I remember Rob's watching my show on YouTube, and he's been following up for the longest time. I remember he had a conversation with David Barreto, and something came up. It just came up around my mic system, and he just came up and said, "I'm going to get you a new mic, and this is this is the mic." So special appreciation to him. Big shout out. And since then we talk like every day, and that's how the friendship up. We literally talk every day. That's how the relationship has gone. So a big shout out to him for having me talk, and you can hear I'm going to say this is funny. I'll probably edit it out. My sound was akin to what
you said it. That's on you.
my sound prior to before we got this one, and I have tried different mics, but yeah, shout out to
play hold music over that part.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They can
No,
see your
so-
lips moving, but they don't know. You're throwing a Cassius mic set up under the bus.
So, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. This was fun. I think this has been the most fun we've had so far. Yeah, thanks to Rob, not you,
Yeah,
Kenny.
it's good.
Kenny, I'm
Thanks
not
for
giving any
inviting me
credit to
along.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me along. So yeah.
Hopefully next year we'll be doing more game, and Pisladon will be much active then. So maybe you'll join us for one of those sessions where my nephew beats.
I'd be
And
happy to.
don't
But
forget the loot survival session too. I mean, I'm really looking forward to
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I'll tell
We'll
you
work
everything
around
that
it.
I know, and you two can be retardio.
Okay.
Yeah.
But something tells me that 2026 is going to be an interesting and busy year.
Yeah.
Watch this space
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Right now.
and enjoy the last few days of 2025. Get some rest. You're going to need it because things are going to kick off.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much.
See you guys.